Good morning, everybody. I'm Sasha Posternak, and I'm really glad to be here today.
Hello, I'm Lonia Posternak, and I'm very happy to be there today also. Sasha and I are sisters and business partners. We co-founded L'Importante, which is a French feminist media dedicated to women's rights and representation worldwide.
Together, we're really proud to present you the third edition of the Barometer L'Importante Arba on the women's representation in the CAC 40 companies.
We created it with Salomé Germain-Trigano, founder of Arba Advisory, a consulting and audit firm, and she couldn't be here with us today, sadly. Together, our ambition is to measure the real progress of gender balance within CAC 40 companies at all levels without limiting ourselves to quotas.
We decided to focus on CAC 40 companies because they are the true economic powerhouses of France. They employ millions of people and shape management practices not only here, but also worldwide.
We are convinced that gender quotas are necessary to achieve parity. But women's rise to the top requires a real change in company culture. That's why we built a broad set of criteria to capture that reality, 15 in total.
To build this barometer, we obviously analyzed the quotas, such as representation in executive and board women's position, and pay equity through the index Pénicaud. But we go deeper in the analysis.
We look at how many women hold strategic business driving roles, as opposed to often called support functions like HR or communication. And we also analyze HR policies around parenthood, anti-sexism, overall company culture that support gender equality.
Because equality isn't just about how many women are in the room, but it's about where they sit, what position they hold, and how companies support them when they get there.
So we're going to show you. So here is the 2025 ranking. We are very, very proud to partner with the newspaper Les Echos, which publishes our ranking exclusively every year together with L'Importante. And if you're curious, you can read a detailed article on the front page of Les Echos available since this morning on their website.
We'll get into more details with the next slides, but to start, when you look at the top companies, one thing immediately stands out. Just take a look. There is no single industry leading the way. Energy, banking, luxury, tech, they all appear among the top performance companies. This shows an interesting conclusion that gender equality isn't about sector, but is about company's commitment, real commitment.
That said, we do see a trend, but at the bottom of the ranking, industries like construction or defense still lag behind. These are often groups with headquarters not based in France and therefore not subject to French legal requirements on gender quotas.
Before launching this barometer, we had a lot of concerns. The potential ripple effect of US policies on women's conditions made us wonder how French companies might be affected.
But in the end, what we're seeing is actually quite positive. These companies, French companies, are sticking with gender equality, and that's a pretty good news. This positive momentum is mainly driven by the top 20 companies in our barometer. They have undertaken a real transformation and made gender balance an integral part of their governance policies. So if you look, 75% have at least 30 women, 30% women on their executive committees. Another 75% have gone beyond legal obligation by introducing paternity leave initiatives. And 90% have set a quantified target for women managers.
Among these top-performing companies, a few clearly stand out. Let's take a look at the top three of this year's. The top 3 companies, as you can see, the first one is Engie, then Orange, and at the end Veolia, which are led by women CEOs. One might think their high ranking is due to being led by women, but that's not the only explanation at all.
Because even without this factor, these companies remain on the top position. The presence of women leaders is actually, in these groups, is above all the reflection of a long-term commitment to gender equality.
Engie, led by Catherine McGregor, takes the first place, as you've seen, with 40% women on its committee executive and a paternity leave policy with 4 fully paid weeks for all male employees worldwide. This company set a powerful example for all the CAC 40 companies.
There is also Orange, led by Christel Edman, which ranks second. It stands out for its strong, long-standing culture that truly supports gender equality. For instance, with almost 40% of women on its executive committee, including 60% in strategic roles.
And on third position, Veolia, led by Estelle Brachlianoff, makes a strong comeback, climbing 7 spots. This year proved that progress happened with clear and measurable gender goals.
When we are looking at the report as a whole, although the number of women on executive committees has increased, a more nuanced reality remains. Of course, the glass ceiling still holds.
The representation of women in strategic position within the executive committee is declining in a worrying way. 14 companies today in the CAC 40 have no women in strategic position in executive committee versus 4 the previous year. That's huge. Yet, we know that strategic role remains the main pipeline to executive leader and board of directors.
So this underrepresentation directly limits women's access to the highest level of leadership, and the proof is clear. We are in 2025, and we count only 4 female CEOs at Engie, Orange, Veolia, and Bureau Veritas within the CAC 40 companies, and only 2 female chairs of boards, one at Michelin and one at Legrand.
Despite this mixed picture, there are reasons for optimism. CAC 40 companies are now placing female managers at the heart of their long-term strategy. 90% of CAC 40 companies, so 36 out of 40, have now set a target of women in management, even though there is no legal obligation to do so now. Among them, 6 teams aim at for at least 40% female manager, and 9 have already reached that goal.
We are not really there yet, but it still represents significant progress, expanding the pool of future women leaders who will feed tomorrow's executive committees and boards of directors. The ranking results remind us that change takes time, but it's happening. Quotas encourage organizations to truly take action on the issues. And the real challenge now is to make gender equality not just a goal, but of course a lasting reality in every company culture. And we hope that the next edition, next year, of our L'Importante Arba Barometer will show continued progress.
Thank you very much for your attention.
Thank you.